Hello everyone, this is Ankita Anchan with Power BI Deep Dive March month webinar from Team Cloud Friends. I have with me my two colleagues Ashish Jagdale and Kailash Kore, who will be assisting me in attending the queries from our attendees. So let's take a look on today's agenda. So in today's webinar, we will be taking a look on report view updates, data modeling updates, and data connectivity updates. So let's get started. So in report view, we have the listed updates to be demonstrated. So the first is visualize and export data behind a visual. So let's go to the demonstration. So I will be opening a PBX file. Here, as you can see, I have an normal PBX file in which I have two simple visuals with me. Now, what if I want to get the data behind this visual? I have to go to the in focus mode. For that visual, we have a new option here, that is see data. When I click on this, I automatically get the data behind this visual. When we click on see data, we get a new option next to this, that is switch to vertical. Now this is useful depending on the type of visualization we have. So depending on the visualization, we can adjust the vertical or horizontal view to get the data. Now this is where we can only view the data behind this visual. What if we want to work on this data? So for that, we can click on the ellipsis over here and we have an export data option. When I click on export, it will directly get me a CSV file into my machine. So when I save this, I get records in my table. So this is where we can add, manipulate, or detailed study of this data can be done. So this is with this. So next update we'll be looking is the map improvements. Now we can put a map into our reports using the longitude and latitude option. No need of the region name and other related zip code with the region to display the map. The next is the ribbon layout improvements. So let's go to our PBX file again. So I'll go to back to my, so in ribbon layout improvements, we can see that we have normally have two tabs, that is home tab and modeling tab. But with lots of updates the last month, we could see that the home tab got a bit congested for the developer to use the every time. So now the formatting options for this has been put into a new tab which is not visible now, but as soon as I click on any of the visual, we get a third tab over here, that is format tab, with few of the formatting options. Now if I want to align, distribute, or any other formatting options, I get it into a separate tab, that is format tab. So this made our basic home and modeling tab a bit standardized and easy to use. So let's go back to our slide. So the next update is a new KPI visual. So let's take a look what's new in this. So we have a new KPI visual in our visualization pane. I'll click on this, I'll select. I have a data with me saying sales details where I have created two simple measures, that is minimum target with sum of unit into zero point 0.8 and desired target as sum of unit into 1.2. So we have three fields to be filled for this visualization, that is indicator, trend axis, and target total. In indicator, I'll be using units. In trend axis, I'll be using date. So when I use now minimum target into my target goal, my visualization automatically turns green with a tick mark and it says that goal is 11 and I am in positive percentage of growth. Similarly, when I use the desired target into my target goal, my color of the visualization changes to red with an exclamation mark saying that the goal is 17 and I am in minus percentage calculated over here. We can have multiple fields in the target goal, that is, I can put the minimum target in this so that I can compare whether I am on the right track or not. So as soon as I did this, my visualization got a third color, that is yellow with a dot, saying that I am between my minimum target and the desired target, that is 17 and 11. So this is how we can measure our data using KPI. A very good visualization which will help us. The next is edit query in table context menu in the field pane. So what's the use of this update is, we suppose we have multiple tables with same initials with me. Suppose I have a sales detail table with sales revenue, sales contact, etc. So it's become difficult for me to go to the edit query and search for that same table again. So what I can do is I can directly right click on this table and I have an option over here that is edit query. So when I click into this, I'll go to the edit query window with that same table opened for me. So I can directly start working on the table instead of wasting time in searching for the table in my big list. So this makes the task of the developer easy and get the data soon. So moving on to our next update, that is duplicate page from the ribbon. So we had the duplicate page option before from the page itself. That is, we used to right click and get the duplicate page from here. But many of us were not satisfied with this update. So now we have another option to get a duplicate page from new page option. When I click on new page, I have two options with me saying blank page or duplicate page. Blank page will give me a new blank page and duplicate will duplicate my this page and get me another same page. So this is where we got the duplicate options in our home tab itself. So let's move on. So this was all from the report view part. Now let's take a look into data modeling updates. In data modeling updates, we have a huge update this month that says we have the ability to define hierarchy. Yes, we can now have a customized hierarchy for us. We can create our own hierarchy to get the good visualization or the desired visualization we need. So for this, I'll be creating a new hierarchy in my order details table for the country, city, area and location. As you can see, I have four different country or address related information. So I can hierarchy this. I'll right click on this ellipsis and I click on new hierarchy. When I do this, I get a new name that is country.hierarchy. Now, as of now, there is only country column in this. I can add other columns by clicking on it and add to country hierarchy. So now along with country, we have city in the hierarchy. Now similarly, I'll add area and then the location to the hierarchy. So now as you can see, we have country, country 2 name similar. So I can change my hierarchy name by clicking on rename. I'll name it as address which will help me to differentiate between my country column and my new hierarchy. So now using this hierarchy, I can create any visualization I want. Suppose I want a simple bar chart to be designed. I'll put my address hierarchy in this. I can cancel the unwanted hierarchy branches I have, or else I'll keep it as it for now, and I'll put the sales revenue in this. So as you can see, I have this drill down option with me, so I can go to the location to the, so I can even interact with a particular thing to get it drilled down for that particular area. So this is how the customized hierarchy will give us a good visualization and according to the need we have. So let's move on. Next is the data connectivity option. In data connectivity, we will be seeing the listed few updates. That is, direct query mode now supports creating calculated columns. Yes, in our last webinar, we have seen how using direct query mode we can create measures. But now we can also create calculated columns using direct query mode. The next update I'll be talking is about the JSON file connector. So, JSON file connector was available before, but it was not that discoverable. User could use the form web connector and provide the URL to the JSON endpoint or use any of the form file options and point a file containing JSON data. But now we can get a JSON file into our file directly using the connector. Now here I have created a sample JSON file with first name and last name. Let's see how I can connect this JSON file into my PBX file. So I'll click on get data. In the file section, we have an option for import data from JSON document. So when I click on this and connect, I can filter this to JSON. So my JSON document is here and I'll open this JSON document in my PBX file. So now as you can see in my data connector, I got a list with records. Now I'll click on this list and click to this two tables. This will connect this list into tables and I can expand this table in the normal format that we use. So now we have this JSON file in the tabular format that we use for our presentation. So let's go to the, so now as you can see when I refresh the table, I'll get my JSON file in this. I have to close and apply. So when I apply these changes, the JSON file comes into my PBX file. The next update I'll be demonstrating is support for Jagged CV CSV file. Now this was possible using CVS file connector before, but this file has been characterized by having different number of columns across rows, generally with more columns showing up after the first few rows and less columns onwards. So let's take a look on this. So here I have a file which has 4 columns and 4 rows, but as you can see the first data has a null value, that is blank, in my fourth column part. So what happens when I try to connect this file into my PBX file? I'll go to connect to Excel and I'll select this file to get connected to this PBX. So when I click on this, I can see it automatically see that the percentage for the first row is null. So when I load into this, none of my data get crashed because of this null presentation in my data. So this is how it can help. So this is done. Now we'll move on to our next. That is, we can enter data dialog using UX enhancement. So now what is this? Enter data was there from December updates itself, but now we can directly create a table using enter data. Now I'll click on enter data, which will directly give me a create table format to get it into this. Now either I can type my data into this or I can just paste it from any of my Excel sheet. For example, I have an employee details in my Excel sheet. I'll just copy it and then go to my enter data option and I'll paste over here. Now as you can see, it automatically detects the first row as the columns, which in my case I want it as the columns, but if I don't, then I can undo the headers from this option. So now I'll give my table a name, employee details, and I'll load into my PBX file. So this is how we can get the data, the table directly created in our PBX file. No need to open the SQL query, write the query, save, and then connect to our PBX file to get the table over here. We can create any visualization from this directly that is saved in a file. So let's take a look. The next is the few improvements in our query editor session. So let's go to the query editor part. In query editor, we have many small changes that will help us to smooth our work and get it done faster. As you can see, if I select a table, when we have multiple columns in my table, it becomes difficult for me to search any of the column particularly to get a calculated column or measures. So now we can sort this column names alphabetically. I'll go to choose column, and in this choose column option, we have here that is sort by name. So when I click on this and select OK, now I know that after which alphabet I'll find my particular column. So becomes easy for me to search where my column will be placed. Suppose I want to see revenue, so I can predict that after the P alphabets, I'll get the revenue, that is R alphabet columns here. So the next update is to have a complete data available in the query. Now here I don't have a huge data, but in case where we have huge data, we normally see that in query editor window we can see only 300 cells and 100 columns, which is a limit in query editor. We cannot see the complete data in lakhs. So now that limitation has been removed from our Power BI team, and now we can see the complete data in the query editor section. So the next update is the select column option, that is one click transfer to the. Now in this, if I want to create a percentage of the revenue, we have an option in the add columns standardize. We have the percentage option here. This asks me that what percent of this value I want in my new column. So suppose I get 10% of my revenue and click on OK. So it automatically generates a new column in my record with 10% of the revenue value I have in my data. So no need to get calculated columns or measures to get this information. We can directly get the percentage with one click. So the next update in improvements in edit query is to enable or disable the table. If suppose the sheet 1 is not in use in my PBX file, so as of now I can right click on this and uncheck this enable load. It will give me a warning that maybe if I use this in any of my visuals will get break. So I'll click on continue. So now this has been lightened with an italic format showing that this table is disabled. So another tables are in the normal format, but not to worry, we can connect this again into my PBX file whenever needed by simply right clicking on that table and selecting enable load. It will again come in my PBX file and be active and can be used in any of the visualization needed. So this was all from the query editor improvements. So I hope you liked the webinar. Any questions?
Thank you, Ankita.
Thank you, Ankita. So it was a
Wonderful
wonderful
webinar.
webinar from my colleague Ankita Anchan. So, so any attendees, if you have any queries, you can, I am unmuting all the attendees. You can ask your queries or you can type into the question box. Or you can also write us at info@cloudfronts.com or support@cloudfronts.com. All right, thank you so much. So stay tuned for another webinar in next month. We'll be coming back with new connectors and new updates on Power BI. Thank you so much.